Hey y'all, we are working on the Suburban this week, and so I'm going to build a couple of mounts for the 8XL light rack to go on the front of the Baseline Overland roof rack. It's going to be a good time, and I've really been excited to do this. All this is in preparation for the NVBDR, which is the Power Stop Trail this year, and I really think we're going to need a little bit more light out front based on just how stinking long it is. I started out with a couple of cardboard templates. I made one version and then revised it to another to get the lights about where I wanted at the very top of the windshield. One of my favorite things about cardboard templating is that it is free to make mistakes and try things. All you need is enough cardboard.
I'm trying to keep this from being too terribly heavy, so I used 105 steel for the side plates. That's about 12 gauge. I've found that a magnet will help keep your template from shifting around as you scribe the perimeter. On aluminum, I just use a heavy block or something. Radius tools are all around you. This is an old scrap piece from the Suburban's front links. Often, I will just take this template and draw it up in my design software and get it lasered at SendCutSend. But I guess I got a wild hair and opted to do these the old-fashioned way, by hand. It's good to get back to your roots from time to time.
One of the things that I learned to do a little while back when wanting to make a pattern like this out of cardboard and exactly duplicate it to another is just to weld the two together with a couple of tack welds that I will grind off later. And that way I can drill holes and put features in this on just one, crack them apart later, and I'll have them as close to identical as, you know, us regular folk can do in our garage. So I have all of this stuff cut out and I have all the features transferred. Basically, I just need a window to clear in some hardware, and it's just a good time with the drill mill here to get that done. I get to play Instamachinist every now and then, and I do enjoy spending time on the mill. So with that cut, we've now got the two plates separate, and they are identical, right? I've got all the holes drilled, everything is deburred and so on, and it's time to make these different. I actually have the dimple dies out, because of course, and so it's time to actually get these things into position to be able to mount them on the truck, see exactly how they're gonna fit, but a couple little strength adders and a tarding up of sorts is in the works.
I found it's best to do these one at a time, meaning draw the dimple and then correct the deformation.
Now, using the same technique as the side plates that have the dimples in them, I built these two brackets to add a little bit of forward mount. These go on the fairing, and these two holes line up with some pre-existing mounts. So anyway, I'm gonna put this all together on the truck now, and you'll start to get a sense as to how these mounts sit up at the top, and then we're gonna really change gears and talk about how the light bar mounts to them, because it doesn't mount to them, it mounts to something else. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I came out here this morning, had my coffee, and did 3 normal hardwire welds, like an inch, right? So there's just on its own, that's enough to structuralize. If that's a word, this particular bracket. I then filled in all these little spots with silicon bronze, right? That's like a brazing type of deal. It's lower amps, and that's why I did it. Lower heat input into the part and seals up this weld. But now it's time to go build this again on the other side, the mirrored side. You might reasonably think, like, just put the light bar up on those 2 brackets and hang it and do a little stabilizer. One of the things that I think about is, like, what happens when I go and rip this thing down the road for 1,000 miles in Nevada and I start putting like a bunch of oscillating forces on this light bar that's got 40 pieces of hardware all the way across it. I'm a set it and forget it kind of guy, so I want to be able to put a brace solidly there in the middle of the light rack, which means I'm not going to mount the light rack directly to those brackets at all. No, I'm going to put a piece of tube in between those 2 and make a nice rigid structure, and the light bar will mount to that. But if you noticed, I put those brackets really darn close to the windshield, which means I need to, in this case, not bend a tube, but I'm going to roll a tube. New project, new tool, that's the rule. The nature of bending tube is to introduce stress to be able to get the tube to go in the direction that you want, right? Tube bender does that on like a centerline radius of, I think mine is 6 and 7 inches. I got a couple of dies. This has no centerline radius. Rather, it is however far you want to push the ram down to put pressure from the center of this tube to the outer wheels and dies. I mean, this piece is from Swag Offroad. I really like their gear, but I just wanted to end game it and get their nice big roller, be able to put nice sweeping bends on this light rack, and then of course later for a bunch of stuff for the charger. I started out by taking a couple of measurements off the truck. I've got a width, I know where I need to hit, that's 53.5. And then I basically measured this to where there's 1 inch of sort of roll in here. So it's very, very mild. And with the digital readout, that's really what you're measuring, is the depth at the center of the roll.
Big radius bends are formed slowly, so it is all about a slow and steady application of pressure over time. The tube is 1 1/4 diameter 065 wall, so look, it doesn't take much to get this thing in an arc.
I've gone back and forth on this a little bit. I even fit this up to the truck and checked it and brought back with a little bit more. The notion being that you can always add a little bit more bend, but it sure is tough to take it out. So the digital readout is pretty helpful knowing where you are in the bend at any point. For me, I kept pulling it off and laying it down here on the table and then measuring the depth basically from the 2 points of the arc to the center to see what is the offset that the arc has made. I have no idea if that's the according to Hoyle way to do it. I'm just thinking visually that says I want the arc to have this much depth and so on. But I think this is it. I think if I'm not right where I want to be, I'm at least darn close. We're gonna go try this out. What I'm doing is I'm wiping off all the grease. Oh, because this thing gets messy.
Following the successful test fit, I indexed the top of the tube and set my saw for a 3-degree miter cut. I needed the mounts to have some room for adjustment, specifically the center stabilizer. Yeah, I stole this radius cutting technique from Frank Gobright on Instagram.
And now the fun part. I have the bar, the rolled tube, all mocked up here on the table. It's set at a 47-degree angle, which basically mocks it up how it is on the truck, right? So straight up and down, which is what this mark is all about, means that's the orientation of the lights. So I'm gonna mount the lights directly on top of here with those tabs you saw me make. These are just a rough duplicate of something that that Baja Designs sends you. See, you got that little slider. Mine are narrower because I don't think I need that much adjustment. And about the lights, so the Baja Designs 8XL, so it's 8 individual squadrons mounted on these bracket dewies, and it lets you put an arc in that, right? So you're not stuck with just a straight light bar that is only flat all the way across. It lets me arc this to match the contour of the windshield, which, as you know, we rolled this to match the contour of the windshield. And so this is payoff time. Building something custom, the only way that I know how to make something look nice is to build and tack and fit and test fit again, and then weld it and test fit over and over again. Me personally, I just don't know another way to do it. And the fun part is when you get to the near final test fit, which is where we are now. It sits out from the windshield, and I think I'm gonna need to adjust the lights up just a little bit to make sure that I don't get a bunch of glare on the hood, but it is low, it's kind of out of the air, and it's very race car, which is silly, but appeals to me personally. One of the other reasons that I put the light bar just at the top of the windshield, but about 5 inches lower than the normal position, is I didn't want to smack these things into limbs quite as much as I was afraid I would if I stuck them up higher, certainly above the roof rack, but even in line with the fairing. Yeah, they're out of the airflow, but look, this has the aerodynamics of the house, so I don't know that I'm really gaining a whole lot there. Okay, zeroing. Let's find out how much this weighs. Combined light bar and all. Get close to it and see what it looks like. 24 and a half, 24.4 pounds. So I am gonna paint this. It may seem like common sense to most folks, but I've talked to y'all before. I have this bad habit of not painting things. I'm gonna start with Seymour's PBE E-Coat. It's a nice, very high solid, so like a one coat does it sort of primer. I also am gonna use a new top coat. Their new 316 stainless in black, right? They've had 316 stainless top coat that's been available, but it's been gray. But everybody's been saying, when are you gonna give me a black? And I'm gonna answer a couple of questions, actually 3 questions that y'all asked on social that are the most common. This is a UV stable paint. Now I've put it on the light bar to test it for myself, but the actual solids, the color, they're UV stabilized. And then the fact that they put a whole bunch of stainless steel in this as well, supposedly enhances the UV stability. Those are comments directly from the Seymour engineers, like paraphrased by me. And I'm gonna test this thing out and see how it does. But the short answer is yes. This is not a direct to metal paint, it is a top coat, so you should use a primer. I use the PBE E-Coat, but if you do plan to weld to this, Seymour says to use a zinc-based primer. And if you do that, Oh man, don't forget your respirator, right? Live to weld another day. So it laid down pretty nice. It actually flattens out to be a nice black based on having a black primer behind it. Just after you shoot it, you can see the shimmer of all the stainless steel in it, and it's just all suspended in there and sparkling and much fancier than it has any right to be on, junk like mine.
That's gonna work really well. What's cool is I thought I was gonna have to adjust the lights farther out, but I'm not, right? They don't even hit the hood. Baja Designs does such a good job of getting light out past the hood that I don't think hood glare is gonna really be a problem. Dust is another thing, right? Lights up high and dust are worthless, right? And that's true for anybody. And I cannot wait to go drive 1,000 miles across Nevada with these suckers on. Now, the next test is to see what it looks like in the full dark. This is just dusk, and that's what I'm gonna go do now. So I will see you all next time. Take care.